Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of the Pig War by Oversimplified. If you have not seen part 1 yet, go check it out. I'll leave a YouTube title card. There we go. That's the right angle. YouTube title card thing right here. Go check out my reaction to that. So far, I'm really enjoying this video. There was a couple comments on the last video of maybe why it was so long. A good comment from Kent. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong or if I'm remembering that wrong. But yeah, I'm looking forward to part 2 here. Last time we left off, Lyman had shot the pig and this border dispute is going on. I'm very curious to see how this will end. And I'm kind of honestly curious about what Oversimplified's next video is going to be, because this is not a very oversimplified topic. It's 40 minutes long. He goes into a lot of detail. And so we'll see what happens in our conclusion here. Thank you all very much for subscribing, liking, commenting. Please continue to do so. I really appreciate it, and it helps me out a lot. So without further ado, let's get into part 2 of the Pig War by Oversimplified.
Lyman shot the pig.
The bastard.
After taking a second to calm down, he felt bad about murdering Griffin's prized boar. So he went to him and said, "Hey man, look, I kinda just killed your pig. It was eating my potatoes again, and I don't know, man, I kinda just killed your pig. Killed your pig. Killed your pig."
The comedy has definitely been upped in these videos.
You swine! No,
Nice
no,
choice
the
of
swine
words.
is the one I killed. I'm Lyman. Griffin demanded Lyman pay $100 for the loss of the pig, an outrageous sum at the time. Obviously, Lyman refused.
$100, and I looked this up because I read the Wikipedia article briefly, is after part 1. $100 in today's money is about $3,000 US, just so you know.
Threatening to shoot any more animals that dared enter his property, even threatening to shoot Griffin himself. When Griffin complained to James Douglas, British officials went and confronted the pig killer. Again, they insisted he pay up, and if he didn't, Lyman claimed they threatened to arrest him and take him back to Victoria. British officials arresting an American on American soil and
Nice.
trying him under British law? Now that's controversial. And it's a controversy that attracted the attention of an American general in charge of the Department of Oregon, one William S. Harney. This guy, General Harney, had a reputation.
Confederate?
He's the kind of guy who invades Mexico without orders, wasting valuable resources and creating an embarrassing situation for everyone involved. He's the kind of guy who has one of his own men arrested for writing the wrong header on a report. He's the kind of guy who finds a dog digging up his yard and then chases it for 1.5 miles just to give it a beating. He hated superiors, hated being told what to do, and had been court-martialed 4 times for disobeying orders. Contemporaries described him as an imbecile, all matter and no mind, an arrogant humbug, and a laughingstock. Like I
Jeez,
said,
I'd never heard of
General
this guy
Harney
before.
had a reputation.
Really
He
had never
hated
heard
the
of him
British
before.
and was out for any opportunity to earn personal glory for himself. By some accounts, he even wanted to become president. And so, in July 1859, when he happened to visit San Juan Island, and he learned of the plight of the Americans living there, the shooting of a pig, and the British threat to arrest Lyman Cutler, General Harney went into scheme mode. Hey yo, Captain Pickett. Yes sir, listen carefully.
Oh,
I need you to
Pickett.
go pick up some flowers and
I know
bring
who
them
that
to
is.
my place later. I've got a plan. Here I am, sir. What's the plan? Pickett, you and I are going to start a war. What do you mean, sir? Okay, listen up. An American man shoots a worthless pig on San Juan Island, and the British
Hey, that's not a
threaten to
worthless
arrest
pig.
him. Outrageous, but we can use it. We get the settlers there to send us a petition saying they need American troops for protection. That's when you go with your men and occupy the island. The British will find American troops on an island they consider theirs so offensive, they won't hesitate to blow you to smithereens. Then, it's war. We bring in reinforcements and we fight back. I'll write to Washington, D.C., letting them know what's happening. But here's the kicker. My letter will take 6 whole weeks to get there. before the government even gets a chance to respond, telling me I'm an idiot and ordering me to cease fire, the island will be ours. Hell, we could even invade Vancouver Island or British Columbia. It's foolproof. Wow, very impressive, sir. But I gotta ask, why? Well, I'll level with you, Pickett. Historians still contest exactly what it is I'm trying to do here. It's possible I'm trying to expand America's territory. Maybe I'm trying to play the hero so I can become president. Some have even suggested that since I'm a slave-owning Southerner, I may be trying to create a diversion to help the South secede in the upcoming Civil War. But if there's one thing that almost everyone can agree on, it's that I'm an idiot. I see.
Right. And so this is the narrative that I had heard, the only thing that I had heard about the pig war. I don't even know how, probably like just browsing the internet, reading articles or whatever, probably Reddit or something like this, is that what I had heard is that it was to sort of subside the tensions between North and South. I didn't know it was to help the South secede from the North, but rather to sort of ease those tensions over and actually keep the Union together. So I'm not saying Oversimplified is wrong here. I could definitely be wrong, but I wonder if maybe that was also sort of a fifth cause too, because at this point tensions are incredibly high between the North and the South. And so maybe this was sort of a scheme to keep the Union together, or General Harney here, who seems like quite a character, if you will, really just did want the South to secede anyways. And Pickett, famous for Pickett's Charge, which was a completely useless charge, might I add, that sort of ended General Lee's campaign in Pennsylvania. And he was, a bit of a foolhardy, really going for bravery and glory and honor and all that crap that we used to fight wars over, and ended up killing a lot of his own men. And a lot of people died for really a senseless reason, basically just a giant tactical mistake that brought Lee's campaign in Pennsylvania to an end.
But hold on, what'd you tell me to bring flowers for? Because, Pickett, they're pretty and I like them! There are also historians who believe that Harney and Pickett had no secret plan at all, and were not scheming masterminds, but simply hot-headed buffoons, genuinely outraged at the audacity of the British, and trying to protect American citizens. But the fact of the matter is, Pickett...
And isn't it always funny that, like, it's so hard that unless you have documented evidence from the actual person themselves, right, or you have some sort of evidence in this manner, that you can only assume their assumptions, right? There's so many things that are the motivations, which is one of the key factors of, why we do anything. And it's such important to really judge actions and characters and other things like this. So much of this is lost to history because sometimes we just don't know why people did things, right? We can assume, but to really judge an action wholly and to get a good overall picture of it, you need to know the motivation of the individual as well as their personality and everything like this. So just a random sort of historical thought that I had off the top of my head there.
Took the very controversial and extremely provocative act of landing American troops on disputed territory.
Oof.
He set up his camp in a very exposed position and erected a very provocative sign proclaiming that only American laws applied on the island. It was almost like he was asking to be fired upon. Or, again, maybe he was just an idiot. When a British official sent to the island to get rid of the unruly American settlers now saw that there were American troops, he demanded they leave. He was obviously told to go suck an egg. When Douglas found out, he was enraged. To him, the American landing constituted an invasion. Harney sent a report back to the War Department in DC, justifying his actions with exaggerated claims of British villainy.
Also, does anyone know what this picture is, very quickly? If anyone knows what that is, please tell me in the comment section below, because I'm kind of curious why he picked this picture in particular.
But he knew it would take 6 weeks to get there, and another 6 weeks for the reply to come back. For now, the situation was entirely...
And sorry to pause again, but just think about that for a second. You want to send a letter to Washington, D.C., and it's going to take 6 weeks to get there and 6 weeks back. I love modern technology. The fact that I'm talking to you right now, and I'm sitting in Austria, in Vienna, on a Tuesday, and you're watching this God knows where, most likely America. Yeah. Okay.
Of local military and government officials, and the ball was in the British court. Would the temperamental Governor Douglas and the powerful British Navy respond to the American provocation with force Were Britain and America
Nope.
really about to go to war over the shooting of a pig? Well, if one man were to have his way, it's entirely possible they would. James Douglas had already had Americans force him out of Oregon. They had threatened his position in Victoria during the gold rush. Now they had invaded his island, and he had had it. It was time to turn to the Royal Navy. You, Captain Hornby, go to the island and prevent any more Americans from landing. And take this magistrate with you to arrest Captain Pickett. Use force if necessary. Just don't do anything to start a war. Wait, you want me to use force but not start a war? Oh, I'm sorry.
Typical
Is that
army
too
orders.
much to ask? Princess? When Captain Hornby got to the island and saw that the American force there was even larger than expected, his concern grew. He sent word back to Douglas, who in response ordered even more ships to the island. And at this point, the naval officers were like, hey man, let's talk. They were concerned Douglas's escalation was leading them to war, and they convinced him it probably wasn't a terribly good idea to just go up to an American military captain with his armed men and say, hey bucko, you're under arrest. Please don't shoot me. Douglas gave in. To prevent any hostilities, he canceled all orders and told the Navy, for now, to simply keep an eye on the Americans. He did send one more ship for good measure. Captain Pickett, now seeing the British ships with their guns aimed directly at his exposed camp, said, see Jeff? Look at that. We're about to get blown to bits. All according to plan. Hang on. Oh crap, Jeff, we're about to get blown to bits! Run! Pickett hastily moved his camp from its very exposed position to another position, which, as it happened, was also very exposed. It probably won't surprise you to learn Pickett came dead last in his graduating class. Nearby American and British officials began showing up to ask Pickett what the heck he was even doing. Then, a bunch of tourists showed up, because a major war breaking out in their doorstep was the single most exciting thing to ever happen in any of their miserable frontier lives. One Charles Griffin was particularly unhappy. First his pig had been shot. Now his sheep pastures were being trampled by soldiers and tourists alike. He complained to Governor Douglas, who was still pretty upset about the whole thing. Douglas felt British honor itself was at stake.
I have to comment on that. So I guess, obviously, modernly we have this sort of dark tourism. At least that's what I've heard it referred to, where people will travel to, Syria or, well, I guess now Ukraine, if they wanted to. Sort of the places where there are civil conflicts going on, for example, in Congo and other places like this, that there are modern civil conflicts, just to see the action, which make of that what you will. But it's funny that here we have an example from over 100 years ago also of this phenomenon, which sort of just goes to show that people just love watching catastrophic events unfold, right? It's just, I guess it's something in our nature, but yeah, I thought that was just funny.
So he decided that if American forces were allowed to be on the island, well then by golly, the British should be there too. It would be a joint military occupation. Upon hearing Douglas's new plan to land British troops on the island, Captain Hornby decided to go speak with Pickett in person. After informing him of the plan, Pickett replied that if they dared land, he would open fire. So there they were. The British had orders to land. The Americans had orders to prevent their landing. This was it. War. Over a small island in the middle of nowhere. Over a pig and some potatoes. Over whether the US-Canada border looked like this or like this. It was stupid.
Nice.
Hold on. This is stupid. To heck with it. I'm not landing those troops. I'm not gonna be the one who starts a war. The captain decided not to follow Douglas's order. And good thing he didn't, because pretty soon after that, the leading British admiral in the entire Pacific region showed up. Rear Admiral Baines outranked Governor Douglas. When he heard of everything that had been going on, he was stunned. But when he heard that Hornby had refused Douglas's plan to land troops, Baines could have kissed him. Whether he did or not, history doesn't tell. But I like to think they did. The Rear Admiral canceled all of Douglas's orders and instead pursued a policy of not interfering with the Americans until he could contact the British government.
Right, and you'd have to think, right? So even if Britain goes to war at this point, right? Why? What are they to gain, right? What are they really to gain? Not only that, but wars are incredibly expensive. And during this time, I don't see what would ultimately be accomplished by the British if they went to war with America, or what would be accomplished by America if they went to war with the British, right? All this is going to do is just make each country more bankrupt faster than they really is necessary, right? I mean, if 1812 goes to show anything of the stalemate that it turned out to be, what's the point?
The Americans, not knowing the British no longer intended to land, had sent reinforcements and began fortifying. But even still, the British Navy did nothing. And finally, when word made it across the planet, informing the two governments of the ongoing crisis, everyone was shocked. Holy crap! Harney landed troops on disputed territory? Man, I hope the British don't find out about this. Buchanan? Oh crap! The British! Why are we getting reports of American troops on San Juan Island? Whoa. I don't know, man. Nothing to do with me. But you're the president. What? Breckenridge? Am I the president? Yes, sir. And hey, we got a problem. It looks like the southern states are considering seceding.
Do nothing.
We're headed for the biggest crisis in the history of the nation. And it's your job to fix it, sir.
Does nothing.
Sir?
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah, so James Buchanan is probably one of the worst presidents. I would say Andrew Johnson is the worst president in my opinion, but a lot of people would say James Buchanan. James Buchanan is basically infamous at this point for doing, for all intents and purposes, nothing, just further kicking the can down the road until the Civil War eventually broke out. Could the Civil War have been stopped? I don't know. I'm not informed enough about the topic to sort of think of my own altist theory off the top of my head, but James Buchanan is definitely ranks as one of the worst U.S. presidents of all time. So yeah, him hiding behind a curtain is a pretty good visual metaphor.
Go away.
Not the curtain again, Mr. President.
I'm not here.
Buchanan. Back in the Pacific Northwest, Harney was beginning to realize the government may not be terribly impressed with his reckless actions. So he began firing off even more aggressive letters, justifying what he had done. Tell him the British were sending bands of Indians to attack our men, and that they're big meanies with coal for hearts, and that they made me cry like a little girl. Wait, no, that makes me sound weak.
How did he find all this
cry
information?
like a big girl. Yeah,
really
that's
know
it.
that.
When the president received Harney's new letters, his anxiety only grew stronger. Oh, crap. Hey, General Scott, please make this go away. Leave it to me, sir. General Winfield Scott was the commanding general of the entire U.S. Army. Well known for his negotiation skills, he was a veteran of the Mexican-American War, during which time he had had to deal with General Harney's idiocy and insubordination. And he watched as Harney got away with it all, thanks to his friends in high places. It's
Gotcha. So yeah, if he's friends with Andrew Jackson and James Polk, sad, but the nepotism definitely runs thick at that
safe to say that Scott really did not like General Harney. By now, General Scott was racked with gout, and he was so big he had to be hoisted onto his ship in a basket. Nevertheless, he began the long journey to the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, get over here. Will somebody please tell me what the heck is going on? I'll tell you, General. It all started on one fateful day last summer. Spuddy? All right, you damn dirty pig. That's the final straw. What? Hey, you can't get away from me! Look at that pig. Nowhere left to run, eh? I'm gonna enjoy this.
Lyman, if you spare my life, I grant you 3 wishes.
So you see, General, the pig wasn't even on his property when he shot it. Liar! He's lying to you, General. I'll tell you what really happened. What a pleasant summer's afternoon here on my humble farm. It's just me and my beloved potatoes. I'm so happy. Say, Lyman, them some nice spuds you got there. Would be a shame if somebody
Oh my
ate
god.
them. No, not again, you beast! Leave my potatoes alone! Yeah, I'm gonna eat them, Lyman. I'll eat them, and then I'm gonna eat you. Stay back! I'll shoot! Go ahead, punk. Make my day. Shoot me! Shoot me! So you're telling me you guys nearly started a war with the strongest naval power in the world over the shooting of a pig?
That's a very good point. I almost forgot about that. At this point, Britain controls the seas. Period. Punkt. That's it. Right? And so the naval power of the British is just unparalleled at this point. The French, sort of, kind of. At this point, Germany isn't even unified. So there's still, and Austria obviously has, a pretty pitiful navy at this point. So that's a very good point, is that if they're in the Pacific and the British decided to send ships over that way, there's no way that America could have ever in any way have fought for, naval supremacy or naval, any sort of strategic naval position that they could have been in. So that's actually, I almost forgot to mention that, but it would have been incredibly foolish to go to war with the British on a Pacific island which the British could dominate navally.
Yeah, now he's starting to get it. Not only the pig, sir. The British then threatened to arrest this poor, pure American soul. Thank you, General. Shut up. I don't care about you. Okay, I've made up my mind. You're an idiot. 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 You guys are fine. And you two are the most mind-numbingly brain-dead ding-dongs I've ever encountered in all my life.
They were promoted.
And I'll see you in my office. Okay, Harney, listen. I cut a deal with the Brits. Here's how it's gonna be. Both sides will maintain a small force on the island for a joint military occupation until our two governments can decide who owns the island. Now, the only way they'd agree to that is if Pickett is removed from command. So I'm replacing him with Captain Hunt here. Now, Harney, listen to me. Do not, under any circumstances, put Pickett back on that island. Okay? I mean it, Harney. Do not order Pickett back onto the island. Understood? Yes, sir. Good. I'll see you glubos later. Is he gone? I think so. Good. Hunt, you're fired. Pickett, you're going back on the island. All right, you psychopath. I've been waiting years for this. I hate you. I've always hated you. Harney had not only ordered Pickett back onto the island, but his department even notified the British that it did not recognize the joint occupation
Oh
settlement.
my God.
While everyone else.
At this point, isn't that insubordination? Like complete insubordination? How do you not, he's already had 4 court-martials, so that's got to be at least another court-martial. How many times can you get court-martialed as a general before you're kicked out? Ugh.
Had decided on peace. Harney appeared to still be threatening war. Needless to say,
God.
a furious Winfield Scott soon removed him from command and sent him elsewhere. In Harney's absence, the joint occupation went ahead, and the troops actually got along together quite well. The British attended 4th of July celebrations at the American camp, while the Americans visited the British for Queen Victoria's birthday. Even Pickett became good friends with his British counterpart. War, it seemed, had been avoided, thanks largely to the level-headed actions of the Royal Navy and General Winfield Scott. Of course, the islands were still in dispute, and the question of...
Also, wait, I just had a question. When it said you have a very round head, is that a reference to the Roundheads, like during Oliver Cromwell's time? Or maybe it's just because his head is drawn round, I don't know.
who exactly owned them still had to be answered. That answer would have to wait, because while San Juan was at peace, the nation was tearing itself apart.
Yep.
When civil war broke out in 1861, the issue of San Juan just wasn't that important. Harney, despite being
what did that
the
say?
issue of San
Restore the Union, kick McClellan in the shins, drop hat off, grow a mustache.
Juan just wasn't that important. Harney, despite being a Southerner, remained in the U.S. Army, but was eventually removed from command at St. Louis when his loyalty to the Union came under suspicion. More famously, Captain Pickett, a native Virginian, went on to become a Confederate general. Pickett's charge at the Battle of Gettysburg remains one of the most famous moments of the entire war and marked a major turning point. U.S. relations with Britain actually soured during the war. The British, missing their supply of Southern cotton, initially looked like they may intervene on the side of the Confederacy. There was the Trent Affair, when Confederate diplomats were discovered and arrested on a British mail steamer. And then there were the British-built ships sold to the Confederacy that wreaked havoc on Northern commerce.
And if I remember correctly, this steamship, which the British commissioned for the Confederates, I think that Britain actually paid the Union, at this point the United States, because they won the war, actually had to pay the Union back for that steamship. It was something along these lines. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there's something really, really fascinating with the CSS Alabama from after the war. So I'd have to look it up, but if you're interested, go look that up afterwards. It's a really cool history.
When the Civil War ended, furious American politicians called on the British to pay reparations. And by now, a long list of hot issues existed between them. And yes, on that list remained, 12 years later, still the issue of who owned these gosh darn islands. That issue, it was finally agreed, would be submitted to international arbitration. The Empire of Germany would decide, with the British and Americans presenting arguments. The American argument was reportedly presented with a little more pizzazz, a little more zing. And in the end, when the Germans made their decision, they awarded the San Juan Islands to the United States.
Fascinating. So who would have actually made that decision, though? Would it have been someone in the German government? Would it have just been a German that was working as an arbitrator? I kind of doubt that the first Kaiser would have been a part of this negotiation, but hey, maybe he was Kaiser Wilhelm I. If you know, let me know in the comment section below. I'm quite curious, actually.
When an aging Douglas heard the news, he said that there was no possible way the British argument had been presented correctly. But that was that. The British conceded. And on the 25th of November, 1872, the last British troops left the island. As the Americans entered the British camp to raise their flag, they found that the British had removed the flagpole. One last up yours to Uncle Sam. By this time, Charles Griffin had already left the island, and the Hudson's Bay Company eventually sold their sheep farm. And so?
Yeah, and there was a comment about this last time, but the Hudson's Bay Company still exists to this day. We mostly just call it the Bay. And it sort of sells like upper middle class and upper class department store fashion type thing. And so it is a company that still exists to this day. How long they'll exist? Who knows? We'll see. It's a fast world. But yeah, still exists to this day.
There you have it. A dangerous situation that almost brought two great powers to war, triggered by the shooting of a pig. But thanks to more level-headed minds and an eagerness for peace and cooperation, conflict was avoided. And the only casualty of this pig war was, well, just a pig. But how different could things have been? What if the British had attempted to arrest Pickett? What if they had landed troops? Could the two sides have actually gone to war? Could America have invaded Canada?
No.
Could it perhaps still invade Canada? Think about it. Why not? We have the manpower. We have the arms. It's our manifest destiny. Picture a future where American Mounties wear red, white, and blue and hail the stars and stripes, where Wayne Gretzky would wave the American flag.
He already does. He lives in California.
Every 4th of July in the streets of Montreal. Maple syrup, the greatest American food. Banff, the greatest American national park.
Oh, come on.
One united nation under the leadership of our glorious president, Drake. No longer shall we tolerate our smug neighbors to the north with their affordable insulin and endless comments complaining that I don't talk about Canada enough in my videos. That's right, Canadians. Watch your backs. Sleep with one eye open tonight, because Biden's coming, baby. And this time, he's coming with a vengeance!
Fantastic. Ah, what a great, that was great. Great video from Oversimplified. Very long. I would say that wasn't oversimplified. That was an unsimplified, if you will. But hey, I enjoyed it. And good little part there about the USA invading Canada, which transitions perfectly to this segue, is that the next video I will be doing is, oh God, what did he call it? How Canada Could End, How Canada Will Fall. It's not the one by What If Altus, it's the one by JJ McCullough, which came in second place, which actually talks about this whole theme. Yeah, about Canada joining the United States. Maybe we just become North America, the country of North America. I don't personally ever see this happening, not ever, but at least in my lifetime. But hey, who knows? Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Thank you all very much for joining me on this video. Next video will be JJ's. And yeah, let me know what you thought. I have nothing else to say. Thank you all very much. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you have not. Thank you all for everything. I appreciate it. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.